Generally, there are 4 courses that the Senate could follow. There are some gradients, but there are generally 4 courses. One of them is you have the power to expel. You have the power to take either no action. You have a power sort of to delay action. And then you have gradients in between. The Constitution provides that you have the power to expel. That doesn't mean that that's your only power in disciplining various Senate members. Looking through other sources, our Mason's rules, other parliamentary sources, you have an ability to sanction, suspend, to intermediate sort of penalties for different types of behavior that a legislator or senator could take.
Many of us had concerns as to if its expulsion was in fact sought, that it could potentially interfere with any current criminal action that's pending. So if you could just review, if it was an expulsion, what would that require us to do under our rules if that was being sought?
It's pretty clear, and I think there's general agreement with anyone I've talked to, both here in this building and elsewhere, that if you are doing an expulsion because of its permanent nature, there is established case law and precedent that you have to follow. And that precedent would require a hearing, some minimal, I hate to use the term due process because it's sort of loaded. It's not the same as a criminal due process, but is due process.
Administrative due process.
It's just a little different form. But there are some minimums. You have to give a notice, you have to have a hearing, you have to have a foundation, you probably, depending on which case law you look at, you probably have to have anyone who's having the investigation done the right to go and ask questions, maybe be represented by a lawyer, probably have to be given the opportunity to. The question then becomes who pays for the lawyer. There's just a lot of process that's out there.
I want to make sure of this is because the concern that a lot of us have, again, goes back to the pending criminal case, which obviously the defendant is absolutely guaranteed his rights under the Constitution. Also, the state, we're concerned about interfering with the state's ability to prosecute this case, whether it be due to contact with witnesses or requesting the law enforcement to express all of their specific investigation.
The idea of having to go through an expulsion just struck me as against the very grain of what we believe in, and that's the presumption of innocence. It worried me that by doing that, we would either be jeopardizing the prosecution's ability to prosecute or the defense ability to properly defend. However, to ignore the fact that there is something going on in the Senate also raised some concerns. The difficulty for me is we have nothing in our rules. We have nothing in the law that addresses this.
Thank you. So this is the one-sentence resolution that I believe you have. To give it a bit of context, at our last Rules Committee meeting, we considered 2 options. One was expulsion, and the other was a form of having the Senate express the desire not to act where criminal charges were pending. And in that sense, we were of 2 minds. I will say that I was substantially persuaded by some of the arguments against expulsion, particularly the Senate President Pro Tem's argument that it could impact the ongoing criminal trial. And so what I set out to do was try to find a middle ground between the Senate expressing a desire and a permanent rule to not act in such cases and expulsion.
I just want to make sure that you do not touch upon anything dealing with the case. And if you start to get into that area, I'm going to stop you, okay? Thanks.
Well, thank you, John, for the time. This has been a horrendous thing on me personally through the year. I never intended to have this kind of a showdown with anybody. As you know, I have said that I am not guilty of any of the charges, and I'm standing by that. So let's go on to this. I look at this proposal by Senator Burr as the same thing as expulsion. It's different wording, it does the same thing, and it doesn't allow me to represent the people who elected me. So, let me tell you that this summer has been one of the worst summers, other than losing my wife, that I've ever gone through. I have had a lot of support from my constituents, my neighbors, family, all that. In fact, they're why I haven't quit, because they've been pushing me not to. I have had constituents tell me that they will bring a lawsuit if I'm not allowed to represent them, and if that's necessary. I prefer it wasn't necessary. I have not, in my knowledge, broken any law rules of the Senate, ethics or otherwise. And I have not copied, I took my constitutional oath extremely serious. I've taken it for 7 years, 7 times. And I have taken that extremely serious. And I've done nothing to try to, I tried staying within that whenever any discussions came up. So to have this happening at this level by my colleagues is quite disturbing. I don't believe any of my actions have ever shown that I have ever been a threat to anybody. And I've been in this building for 13 years. So, I don't know what the resolution is to finish. What you will have, that'll be up to you. I have not wanted to be in the limelight. I'm not a person that likes cameras or microphones, and I'm finding myself in a spot where I really am not comfortable and would rather not do it. But, that said, this whole proceedings that have been brought on to me has financially ruined me. It's been very emotionally hard. It has sullied everything that I have ever done in my adult life. I have been, by some, misquoted, also been bullied, threatened by some of my colleagues, and we do have laws against that, but it's not going to pertain in this case. So I'm saying I should be afforded the same thing any other citizen of Vermont or United States is, and that's presumption of innocence until proven guilty. I have not done what I've been accused of. I've got a daughter and 4 granddaughters that I think the world of. That is not something that would be acceptable with any of them. So, moving forward, I understand you feel you have to do something, but it's kind of like, I see it as, well, you got somebody down on their knees, so kick them in the head. And that's the way I look at this proceeding.
Thanks. Next one. Okay.
But my understanding is the process is you want to do Senator Flores first.
Yes.
Senator Benning,
No.
Senator Baruch,
No.
Senator Mazza,
No.
Senator Flory,
Yes,
Senator Campbell.
No.
Senator Baruch's motion for suspension of proposed resolution. Senator Benning,
Yes.
Senator Baruch,
Yes.
Senator Mazza,
No.
Senator Flory,
no,
Senator Campbell.
Yes.
I have the Baruch motion as a committee resolution 3-2, and at this point I have the Flory proposal resolution, not a committee resolution, 1-4.
I can't, I'm not going to talk anymore.
Senator, what's your reaction to the decision they just came to?
Pardon me?
What's your reaction to the decision they just came to?
Did you think it was a surprise? Did you?
And what's your reaction to it?
Maybe a little disappointment.